The pomp and circumstance for President Biden is over. The work to enact his agenda begins as he embarks on his first full day in office. The president wasted no time last night signing 17 executive orders, among them an end to the so-called Muslim ban, extending the eviction and student loan moratoriums, and rejoining the Paris Climate Accord. He will also sign several more executive orders today pertaining to the COVID-19 pandemic. Mr. Biden's initial measures came a day after the day of celebration to mark the culmination of his 50-year journey in public service. In a nationally televised event last night, the president laid out his vision to bring the country together.
This is a great nation. We're a good people. And to overcome the challenges in front of us requires the most elusive of all things in a democracy, unity. It requires us to come together in common love that defines us as Americans, opportunity, liberty, dignity, and respect, and to unite against common foes, hate, violence, disease, and hopelessness. America's story depends not on any one of us, not on some of us, but on all of us, on we the people.
The Senate has already gotten to work making sure President Biden's cabinet nominees are in place. His Director of National Intelligence pick, AVRIL HAINES, was confirmed last night. She is the first woman to serve in the role. Senators approved her nomination 84-10. All of the no votes came from Republicans. CBS News senior White House and political correspondent Ed O'Keefe joins me now. Hi, Ed. Welcome. So what is Mr. Biden planning to introduce today in an effort to combat the coronavirus pandemic?
Well, good afternoon, Tanya. Look, this was something he talked about every day on the campaign trail, every day of the transition, and now on his first full day in office, it is, of course, the focus of his attention, the pandemic. 10 new executive orders covering things like mandating that Americans wear masks while flying or on trains that cross state lines, directing agencies to expand data collection and reporting capacity on the extent of the virus, directing OSHA to publish worker safety guidelines, establishing a new coronavirus testing board, directing government scientists to identify new treatments for it, and, frankly, relying on scientists. That isn't an executive order. That's just the plan here. You're going to hear later today from Dr. Anthony Fauci, the new chief medical advisor to the president on COVID-19. He was among the first Biden administration officials to speak to the world, literally this morning, very early, spoke to the World Health Organization as the United States is rejoining that group, and noted to that body that today marks exactly 1 year since the first confirmed case of COVID-19 here in the United States.
Wow, that's incredible. Ed, the president is also making immigration a priority. What is his plan for reforming legislation, and is it likely to gain bipartisan support?
Well, some of it can be done by the administration itself. Other things are going to require Congress. For example, this morning, the Department of Homeland Security has started a 100-day moratorium on deportation. So anyone who was set to be sent back to their home country for whatever reason is being held in place for now. The other thing that the administration did, they're reversing a Trump-era program that requires non-Mexicans seeking asylum there along the U.S.-Mexico border to now cross into the United States if they want, as they await an asylum hearing. Remember, the Remain in Mexico policy was put in place by the Trump administration as one of the ways to try to keep illegal crossings and deter people from coming up through Central America, through Mexico to the southern border. So that's changing as well. When it comes to the immigration reform bill, it's a massive proposal that was sent yesterday to the Hill, would create an 8-year pathway to citizenship for eligible immigrants, potentially as many as 11 million, who, depending on their situation, could apply for a green card, then wait a few more years for citizenship, as long as they don't commit any crimes or pay back taxes and whatnot. Other changes would include relying more on technology instead of personnel down on the U.S.-Mexico border. One of the executive orders he signed yesterday, for example, stops the construction of the border wall that was started by the previous president. So a combination of things they can do almost immediately, designed to somewhat symbolically remind the country of what the previous president had done in his early days in office. Things like ending the Muslim travel ban that President Trump had started, reversing the southern border wall construction plans, which of course was a big focus early on. All of that designed to sort of demonstrate he's doing what he can The rest is going to require Congress, and it could take several months for some kind of an agreement to come together.
And Ed, we mentioned earlier Director of Intelligence HAINES' confirmation. Is there a timeline laid out for when the Senate will vote on the president's other top cabinet picks? And are any of those picks in jeopardy of being rejected?
We have not seen any evidence of anyone being rejected just yet, though history would suggest that at least one of them is going to get tripped up for some reason, either because they don't have the votes or because something comes up in their background. But as for when they get confirmed, that's still a big open question. There is expected to be a vote in the Senate Finance Committee tomorrow, for example, to confirm the Treasury Secretary nominee, Janet Yellen. That would allow a vote potentially as early as tomorrow, if not early next week, for her. She'd be the first woman to lead the Treasury Department. The other trickier one is retired General Lloyd Austin, who is set to lead the Defense Department. Remember that both the House and Senate have to pass what's called the civilian waiver for him, because it's been fewer than 7 years since he left the military, and federal law doesn't allow somebody who has served to hold a civilian position at the Pentagon for at least 7 years. The House and the Senate are working out when exactly that can happen and how quickly he could be confirmed, but both of those things have to happen before he can head to the Pentagon. So on this, his first full day in office, the new president is beginning with mostly acting secretaries running departments and agencies. That is a first for the modern era. There is concern in the administration and among those that track presidential transitions that there is the possibility of some kind of a hiccup, or if there is some kind of crisis and there's no permanent political leadership in place, it could be confusing for the rank and file. But they're pushing hard, and we should see several more confirmed by early next week.
All right, sounds good. Well, Ed O'Keefe at the White House, thank you so much.